Weekend nights, the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. CTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's good light. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's good light.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. We're live here at Newport on the levee right before Bengals now. As you can see, we got the man himself, Joe Danneman here. We're having a great time. Come on down. We got Jordan Battle's going to be a guest at Bengals now, along with Joseph Osai, and the Bengals are still in it. There's still a chance. Still a chance. Right, Joe?
Yeah, and I think that should be exciting for Bengals fans, considering where they were, 4 weeks ago? 4-8. And I'll never forget sitting in that press conference in Pittsburgh, or in Cincinnati after losing to Pittsburgh, and it kind of felt like the Bengals had conceded this season, at least the expectation of going to the playoffs. And ever since then, they played winning football, and they put themselves in position now in Week 18 to have a chance, and that's all you can ask for as a Bengals fan when you start 4-8, is to give yourself that last final week to have a pulse, to have a shot, and now we know the schedule and how it's going to lay out for the Bengals. It's not just a Saturday night thing.
Nope.
It's also a Sunday thing that Bengals fans will be watching. So sets up for an exciting, fun weekend for Bengals fans here in Cincinnati.
That punt from Dallas changed the season.
It did.
The first time a ball bounced, I've said this last time,
right.
First time the ball bounced their way.
And that was the first big break of the season.
And I think it's given them the Bengals, especially the defense, confidence, because we don't win this game Saturday without the defense. I mean, they made stops. The offensive line is what it is. They gave up 7 sacks. We still won.
You ready for a great anecdote?
We got.
So I was talking to Zach Taylor today, and specifically on the Jermaine Pratt interception in the fourth quarter that may have saved the season as well. Okay. So Zach Taylor said they saw that play ran when the Broncos played the Chargers, and in the final team meeting the night before the game, when they played the Broncos, they showed the defense that play one more time. And it was in the back of their mind.
It worked.
And they were waiting for it. And Jermaine Pratt was waiting for it. And Jermaine Pratt made the play on the ball. So, that's got to be satisfying as a coach, right?
Yes.
That when you take the time to show the guys that one more play that you think might be coming in a big spot, and then they run it, and then your guys execute what they have to do on defense and to make the big play. And you're right, outside of the pass from Bo Nix to Marvin Mims, which is a hat tip.
It was a great play. I don't care. It was just a great play by them.
The defense played great.
Yes.
In winning time. They made the interception, and then in overtime they got stops when they needed to. And the Bengals aren't alive and playing in Week 18 with the chance to go to the playoffs. If the defense that's been criticized all year long by people like myself, people within the fan base,
me,
people like you, and rightfully so, they weren't good enough for long stretches of the season. And we can sit here and argue all day long, is it because they're playing bad quarterbacks and bad offenses. Certainly Denver's not bad.
No.
They're not elite. They're probably somewhere between league average and good.
Bo Nix made some elite throws, though.
He did, and hat
Two
tip to
of them.
him.
Yeah.
But the way the Bengals defense has played here the last month has given this team a chance to let Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins win games, and they've done that, and now they've got a shot in Week 18.
And shout out to Joseph Osai, too.
Played his best game as a Bengal.
Yes, he's do you think it's where he's finally healthy? Like I know it's hard. It's Week 17, hard to say anybody's healthy, but he's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, and I'm like, what is going on? He hasn't been the same since the Kansas City game, the AFC Championship game. That was the first game I've seen him wreak havoc on a consistent basis since that game.
Yeah, he was very disruptive, and I would challenge people who have the game maybe saved on their DVR or can look at it on YouTube to go back and look at the Jermaine Pratt interception. Joseph Osai is one of the guys who disrupted that play.
Yeah,
he got his hand up there right where Bo Nix was releasing the ball. I think he messed with the follow-through, and it might have messed with the throw a little bit. So while Jermaine Pratt gets the praise for the interception, while the coaches deserve credit for showing the team the play and having a plan for the play, you still need guys to go out there and make the play. And Joseph Osai is one of the guys who got around the edge with his ability to get in the backfield and showed that kind of moment that Bengals fans have been waiting from him. And he showed in a big spot to help save the season.
Exactly. All right, Joe, Neil, what do you guys got?
By the way, I appreciate the introduction for that you gave.
I just popped you on. Nobody, you usually don't show up here. So, by the way, get it up for Joe, everybody. We don't have anybody live audience here. Go ahead, Joe.
Lord, talk about an afterthought. No, and just going on, but I mean, obviously topical because Joseph Osai is going to be here, but I don't believe in a contract push. But the fact that he's playing the best football of his career, and it's not just last week, it's been almost since Hubbard went down. He's getting more run because he's because they're not, they can't lean on Hubbard to be out there every down. He's showing more flexibility. I mean, they've tried moving him in and off of 3 technique kind of through the years, but I think he's figuring out how to get pressure from that spot. But we know he's got the ability to come around the edge, but and this is maybe a question for a few weeks down the road, but do you think that this push, at least, last handful of weeks, increased the chance that they look to bring him back? Obviously, his paycheck's going to be a little fatter next year than it would have been otherwise, but does this put pressure on them? I mean, this is a team that needs as much juice as possible on the other side from Trey Hendrickson. Do you think there's a higher chance they're going to keep him around, bring him back next year?
I think it's a great question, and I think it falls in the bucket of all the decisions they have to make after they make the 2 big ones about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And it was funny, I was talking about those 2 last night on our show, and you think about how much more expensive they are now than what they were before the season started, and talk about your all-time backfires. And I do wonder that if T. Higgins has handcuffed the front office, that they have no choice now, because we've talked about it on this show. We know what Joe's plan is. We know what T's plan is. We know what Jamar's plan is. It feels like those guys are lockstep in that they want T to be a Bengal for another contract.
Yeah.
The question all along that I had was, okay, we know their plan. What's the front office's plan? Is their plan?
Do they have a plan?
Right.
Well, they have to, right? These are discussions that they've had several months now to have, and a full offseason to have as well. So to answer your question about Joseph Osai, and if you really are going to invest in Jamar and invest in T. Higgins and invest that kind of money in their big 3, and I'm at the point now where I think they should, because that's what makes them different. That's what makes them dangerous. That's what makes them
the best
unique
offense in the NFL.
In the NFL is the fact that they can put those 3 together. So if you're looking to build some kind of, and the word you used was juice, opposite Trey Hendrickson, when you have somebody that you have in the building that you've tried to develop over several years and you've put a lot of time into, I think he would be a priority to bring back. Now, it would have to come back on a deal that would fit in the structure of a team who is now paying T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow most likely. But I think there's a really good chance he could come back.
And you got to resign.
I really think it depends on what he wants. Does he want to go somewhere where he's going to be cut loose as a guy who's going to play the majority of the snaps and have a chance to showcase what he can do? Or is he going to be happy here being part of a team that can be a Super Bowl contender, but being a rotational guy? Because they still haven't found that answer opposite of Trey Hendrickson. They've tried with Joseph. They've tried with Miles. Neither one is hit at the level I'm sure they expected. But certainly it's going to be one of those discussions of, okay, after we get Jamar and T, their decisions out of the way, what do we do now at these positions on defense? Because the defense has to be better next year for this team to go where they want to go. Because they might get to the playoffs this year, but I will say it right now, this is – I'm not going to say it. I don't want to be on the wrong side of history, but this is supposed to be a Super Bowl contending expectation in Cincinnati. And I think all of us sitting at the table, I don't think we would be floored if the Bengals made the playoffs. No. I would be stunned if they made the Super Bowl with this defense and the way this roster is made right now. So I don't want to be on the wrong side of history. That's why I'm not going to go there. But this still needs to be fixed for the Bengals to be back towards the expectation of a roster of a Super Bowl contender.
I mean, the thing is, once you get in, you never know. And I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be shocked, but I could see it. I'm the forever optimist. I could see it happening. Will it happen? It's a big long shot, but that's what happens. The teams get hot. And and usually it's not the best team that wins, it's the hottest team.
And it's also matchup based, right?
True.
We've seen the Bengals and the Bills matchup has gone the Bengals' way, the way it went in the playoff game, the way it looked in the primetime game before Damar.
Right.
It looked like now this Buffalo team is different. They feel like they have a little bit of that magic that kind of separates them a little bit this year. I would think that the Bengals played a playoff game in Buffalo. They would have a real hard time getting off the field against the Buffalo offense. But the other question I have to ask is this, and I know this is being debated in the fan base, is what Kansas City should do. Look, we all know Kansas City's resting starters. That's for sure.
But how long?
And
the whole game?
And how much integrity will they have to win? Because if you're Andy Reid and you hold the power in your hand, this is assuming the Bengals win on Saturday night, you hold the power in your hand to keep Joe Burrow out of the playoffs. You don't want that guy in the tournament.
But do they?
But do they? Or do they care?
Well, I mean, do they want Buffalo or
to play the Bengals?
To play the Bengals
on the opposite side.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that can go into factor on that.
Yeah, I can argue the other way.
And look, they're 15-1 of the two-time Super Bowl champions, so maybe
they wouldn't be scared of anybody
who they're playing. But I would say this though, I think it's interesting to look at it like this: say the Bengals were the 1 seed. And Patrick Mahomes was fighting for that 7 spot.
Oh, I'll be trying to keep him out because I hate him.
Absolutely,
that would be me.
That's what I'm saying. That's the same thing that happens.
But it's hard
Kansas City now with the Bengals.
Kansas City, though, even the guys that are going to be their backups, they're going to try and win. It's just like the Giants. Those guys.
Carson Wentz, people forget, was a legitimate first-round draft pick for a reason.
Those guys are going out there playing for jobs.
Yes,
those guys are playing for paychecks.
They're not going to go out. The guys that are playing are not going to go out there and tank.
I would, and I've said this on the show before, and I'll say it again here. I would challenge people to search on Twitter what Zach Taylor said the night before, the week of, when the Bengals hosted the Dolphins on primetime, and all the questions about what the Bengals did against the Dolphins the year before they drafted Joe Burrow. I would challenge people to go back and listen to an NFL head coach talk about why it's important for football players to play in games and play with integrity in games that people outside of the buildings label as meaningless. It's a very interesting perspective from Zach Taylor on what winning means and what winning does for careers, not only of coaches, but for players and what they do and how they compete in games. Find that clip that will put it into perspective better than I can do in this segment.
And another good example of that too, Joe, is Foster Moreno yesterday after the game said he doesn't like speaking about resumes because people are going out there fighting for their job when they were talking about New Orleans tanking. So that's another good example of a clip to watch too.
And it's a lot of Giants fans are kind of losing their minds because they screwed up and won. There are, on that Giants team, that's a bad Giants team. Outside of the defensive line, there's Malik Neighbors, maybe Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah.
So you've got 6 guys out of 53 that have a spot secured. You've got 47 guys that are playing to either stay on the team to keep their contracts or to perform. Like, people that get pissed because their teams win when they want them to tank or to get a better draft position, you can't expect it. Yeah, I understand as a fan. First off, there's not that generational quarterback. I'm sorry, Shedeur Sanders is not a Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, whatever.
It's not Joe Burrow.
So who cares? But like, they're legitimately mad. I'm like, turn off your fandom brain then. Like,
Yeah,
if you don't care, like
I
if
think
you're
it's
going to be
okay
upset
to-
that they win,
I think it's okay to be mad about it.
Yeah.
But also understand why the guys win.
right. These
that-
are guys that have jobs. These jobs
Correct.
don't last long.
And you think about every coach in that building, and they're evaluated on the bottom line. And the bottom line of the season are games you win and lose, and how you perform on this day, and at the end of the year. Can you keep a locker room together? Can you keep guys motivated? And I think it's okay for fans to be, man, what are we doing? We're losing a draft pick. We're dropping down. But also at the same time, inside your own mind, you have to say to yourself, okay, I understand that when these guys get put on the field and when Kansas City's backups do play, this is their shot, man. This is their chance to go out there and prove. And that's a very good organization. They have a good roster from top to bottom. They know how to build a roster. They know how to build depth. They know how to draft. I mean, look at their defense. At the start of the season, I don't know where their injuries are now. 10 of their 11 starters are on defense were draft picks. They know what they're doing in the draft, and they built a championship defense through the draft. So they have built depth throughout the organization. So while I understand why Denver is an 8-point favorite, and while I would sit here and say I think Denver's going to win because we saw what they're all about on Saturday night. That's a good football team with a great coach that will be ready to play, and they haven't been to the playoffs in, 10 years? Highly motivated team, nearly won in Kansas City off what would have been a huge win for them.
Yeah.
What was it? A blocked field goal?
Yeah, or was that
Short
the one,
field goal
was the
block
block, or was that the one he
by
missed?
That was
Kansas
the
City.
block.
Was
That
it
was
block?
The block,
block.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
Kansas City
the one he
blocked
hit it bouncing.
So they
there, it's
almost
blocked.
won in Kansas City against the starters. So I understand why they're favorite, but I will say this. Kansas City has a great organization, a great roster, great depth, and those guys will be ready to play football that Sunday to try to win.
I mean, I always go back to this, and I go back to the Giants fans being upset, which I understand. If the Bengals had won that game against Miami, Joe Burrow would be a Miami Dolphin. That's how big that is.
Well,
for
but
us.
also,
there is
and
no-
look at the players.
Yeah.
Look at what Tyler Boyd did in that game
Yeah.
to be able to get up so
Right.
they could spike
They
the ball.
tried it,
Like,
yeah.
and
Oh,
players,
trust me.
you can't tell the players to turn
No,
their
you can't.
competitiveness
You
off.
can't.
Right.
And
Like,
I
that's,
get that.
that's when someone gets
Yeah.
hurt.
You would be justified as a Bengals fan of being pissed
Yes.
to this
Right. Look,
day
what are you doing? Let the
that
guy
Joe
cry.
Burrow wasn't a Bengals
Right.
fan. But you cannot blame the players or
No.
the coaches for going out there and competing for their jobs.
And
That's just
Exactly.
the way it is.
People forget too, like in the player aspect, like being a former athlete, like you never know when one injury could ruin everything. So them stepping on the field, they're not only playing for a job, they're playing for their career, their families,
right,
everything
so-
else on top of it.
So with that being said, how long does Saquon Barkley play? Does he
Oh,
go for it?
man.
Because this is now what the thing is,
101 yards. Is
he's
he
101
He's
yards.
already at 2,000.
Yeah,
I
he's
would
right.
not play him a single down.
He is
Not one.
I
100 yards
guarantee
away.
he would not play.
He
I don't
He's,
think
he's the one who
it
sat
is-
down in the season close
Sure.
to a record to let the backups
And
play.
Yeah.
he got 2,000, which is
Uh-huh.
an important number.
Well, he
and
said
if
it's
you were
up
to
to his
break the
coach.
record, it would have come in 17 games.
That's
So there's
yeah.
already an asterisk.
That's what the next thing I was about to
He
say.
is-
Yeah,
That is a team who legitimately can win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. We saw them. I mean, that's the only game. Yeah, Bengals have 8 losses. That's the only one that was an actual
it
aspect.
wasn't
I mean,
close.
every other game was, one
They
score
were,
game.
yes, they were
Steamroll.
really impressive in
I mean,
person. And I'll say this too. And I always say this about risk versus reward. That in 2 weeks from now, if you're sitting there and you're like, okay, Saquon got the record, that's cool. What if you're sitting there saying Saquon got hurt in the game?
Yeah.
How stupid do we look?
Right.
That the engine for what could have been a Super Bowl season
It's
has
now
been
gone.
dismantled because we were trying to get him enough yards to get a record in a meaningless football game.
But how much would it
Can't
mean?
do it.
But things, how much would it mean to Saquon to get it against
That's
the
the question.
against the
Yeah.
Giants?
And that's the
It
other
would be
thing
against
too.
the
He
Giants. I was like,
might only- might only need 5 or 6 carries to
Right.
get 101 yards
Yeah.
against the Giants.
So
I wouldn't play him. I
wouldn't
understand
play him.
why they
Yeah.
do or why they would. It is just too high risk of a position to play. I remember back when the Bengals went for Jamar's record, what he played like one down in
Yeah, and
Cleveland.
Oh, in Cleveland,
They got him
him
the
sack.
catch and they got him the
Sat
heck
him,
out of
yeah.
the game. That's a much more safer
Well,
play.
it's
This
not
is
a
a
running
wide
back trying to
receiver.
But
get
100,
hurt.
100 some odd yards, that's you're not getting that in like
Yeah, if you
first
needed
drive.
13 yards or 8 yards, maybe I would hear it. 101 yards, you're probably playing a full half minimum
at least.
to get
Yeah,
that
you have to at
number.
least
And
do that.
I would not touch it.
No.
He is too valuable.
Well, and to be talking about organizations like the Chiefs that are well run from top down, Eagles,
Sure.
Howie Roseman all the way down.
Yep.
Like that's an incredibly well run
And that's
organization.
an organizational
They're not gonna do anything
decision,
dumb. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's not just Nick
That's not Nick
Sirianni
Sirianni,
and Saquon Barkley sitting down and
Yeah.
talking about it.
That's like,
That's the-
you're more important next
Yes.
week and the
And
following
I think
weeks.
Saquon understands
Oh,
that. And
absolutely.
I think he's a pro's
Absolutely.
pro when it comes to that. and I think he'll understand that whatever decision they make will be good.
You got to go. You got time.
I got 1 more minute.
All right. Well, all right. Real quick. Joe Burrow is getting talked about more and more. MVP.
Yep.
I think we all believe if the Bengals had won more games,
Yes.
obviously he'd probably win the thing, or if we finish second, he's probably going to finish third.
Yep.
Well, all right. Let's put it this way though. What if everything falls together and the Bengals actually do make the playoffs? How much more does he finish?
Third.
You still think he finishes
Third.
Third?
Yep.
You don't go past Lamar or
No.
Josh Allen.
I think it's Josh Allen's award. I
Is it his award because he hasn't won it yet, or you think
that's part of it.
I think there's
I think that's
fatigue
definitely
with
part of it.
Lamar.
Absolutely. And that's not just an NFL thing. That's an NBA thing.
Yeah.
It's the next guy who hasn't won the award, who deserves to win it and will win it, I think goes to Josh Allen. And you look at their total stats, and each quarterback plays the game a little bit differently, but they're all right around there in the low 40s when it comes to total touchdowns passing and running. So they all have great numbers. Josh's interceptions are a little bit lower. Joe's yards are a little bit higher. But what Josh Allen has done this year, I think we could all agree at this table, he's done more with less than any of the quarterbacks in that
Absolutely.
conversation. There's
Yeah.
no doubt in
Yes,
my mind.
Correct.
You look at the supporting cast he has, and he has dragged that Buffalo Bills team to the point now where they were always considered a challenger. Now they're considered an elite contender, and that's because of him and his season he's had. I think it's Josh Allen, quite honestly, in a runaway. Lamar second, and then Joe third.
Yeah, for me, my only argument is to that is if the Bengals do make the playoffs, the only reason the Bengals are making the playoffs is because of Jackpot Joey. That's to me that's where if you're looking for, and it kind of goes. I'm not going against Josh Allen. It's kind of the same thing. It's just they were so far back.
Mm-hmm. It's not a
actually
matter of
make that
who
jump.
the most valuable is. It's who's the best. What quarterback of the top
So-
two
That's
or
right.
three
All right,
seeds is
question
having the best
question
year.
is Joe's most likely going to get comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
Does he also get offensive player of the year, or does
Jamar.
he
I
not?
think Jamar.
You don't
or
think
it's
it's
gonna be Jamar or
Saquon?
Saquon.
I think it's
It's
Saquon.
definitely
One of those
Saquon.
two.
It's amazing that
Definitely
the
Saquon.
years that Joe and Jamar have, and I will say this right here, right now, this will be their absolute best statistical season they ever have in
I mean,
Cincinnati.
it's hard to top this.
There's
You
no
can't
way to
you
top
can't
it.
expect them to match this.
And because a lot of the games they've had to play from behind, so they've been throwing the ball more than they ever will before. I firmly believe they'll fix the defense enough next year that they're not playing catch up in 90% of the games they play. So the stats they have this year, I don't know if there's a way they could ever top what they're doing now. And it's wild that they won't win any awards outside of comeback
Yeah,
player.
he's
of the
going
year.
to win that one for sure.
It's
But
over.
the cool
Yes.
thing is though, Joe and Jamar aren't going anywhere. They're going to sign Jamar, and the cool thing is we get to sit there and watch. Hopefully, it's T. Higgins. And people are like have come at me. You're like, well, they got to get defense. They have enough money.
They're going to have $100 million.
They're gonna have enough money to
if
sign
they-
all
you
three
know,
of them.
with the cap space and
now-
guys that are going to not even
The
like
question
Mike,
is, will
guys
they
that will get cut.
Yes.
That's the question.
And-
Will they
Don't
spend it?
overspend it on BJ. I love BJ Hill.
Well,
I can see an old Bengals team.
what about Trey
bringing
Henderson?
him back, but
That's one I wanted to bring up.
you have to.
You have to resign.
You have
that's
to
not-
extend him.
So you got to resign Trey. You want to resign T. You want to sign Jamar. You want to maybe sign Joseph Osai and BJ. That's 5 guys off your own team. I put as guys that you probably should sign.
I say you pick 3 of those guys. Like outside, I mean, obviously Jamar's money isn't going to affect next year anyway because he's got the 5th year option, and that
Right.
money is already.
Well, they do
So-
T right. They can tag him again and then sign his
But
contract.
then
Yeah, but
tag
that's a
price
huge hit
jumps
right up
again.
the top.
right.
And you also piss off T. Higgins again.
Yeah.
True.
Because that guy wants the big contract.
He's deserved
earned
it. He's earned
the
it.
big
the
contract.
thing is,
he wants the multiple year security,
Yeah.
and he's earned it.
With him having the same age as Jamar, I'm more confident that it could happen.
It
I
doesn't
still-
hurt.
I still don't know if they're going. I'm hoping they are, but it feels like there's a shot where
No doubt.
a month ago I was like, we're
Same.
just enjoy T
Yep.
for what it is, and
Yep.
I'm going to miss him, and it's going to suck seeing him in a different uniform. Now I'm kind of like, hey, they might, and
So
Joe
you're
wants it,
saying
and
there's
that's
a
the thing.
chance.
Joe could restructure his contract in different ways too.
All right, guys, I got a jet.
Yep.
Bengals now, Joseph Osai, 6 o'clock. Come on down
Come on
if you
down.
haven't been here. This will be our last show of the season unless
Ooh.
the Bengals go to the playoffs. We'll be back next week.
So we're going to be back next week because the Bengals going to the playoffs. I'm calling it. Joe, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, guys. Again, we're live down here at Newport on the levee, as Joe said, right before Bengals now. They start at 6:30, so you guys can come on down. I got Joe Suicide, Jordan Battle are going to be down here. We'll be talking some Bengals. Guys, I've been saying this a lot this year, and when the season wasn't going great, a lot of fans or commenters or whatever were getting irritated with me. That, the season's over, yada yada yada. And I'm like, until they're mathematically eliminated, I was never going to say the season's over. After the Chargers game, I kind of thought the season was over. I did say that, but I still was like, you never know. A month ago, how surprised are you for where we are from a month from before the Cowboys game? After the Chargers game, I thought we were done. I really did. But then I was like, I started talking myself into it again because like I always do. From that Chargers game to now, did you guys think that would be anywhere close to talking about playoffs, or would you be talking draft now?
I think the only reason we're still talking playoffs, I mean, again, we saw the schedule coming up. We knew it was a soft part. We knew the Bengals would have a chance to get a run, get back to 500, but they're only in because teams have kind of fallen off. I mean, they were.
Well, they're in because they've won too.
Well, I know, but other teams ahead of them have fallen off the pace that have kept them alive. But again, I mean, kudos. I mean, the defense has stepped up. Yeah, you're playing Cooper Rush. You're playing.
Well, Bo Nix was pretty good.
Right. But I'm talking about for 3 weeks before that. You're playing Cooper Rush. You're playing BTS, DTK, whatever.
MSG, OBS,
OPP.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
right
you know
now,
me.
Speaking of it, if DTR sat the bench this weekend and Jameis Winston was starting,
please,
we would be sitting here having a different conversation
one game.
right now.
Does anyone remember Jeff Galooly?
Yes.
Can we send him up to Cleveland?
Bust a kneecap?
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. If they played Jameis Winston this weekend versus Miami, it would have been a different outcome.
Brad, never say never.
Never say never. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. Tua isn't playing.
Tua isn't playing.
Probably not playing.
Yeah,
Miami is 1-9 in the last 10 games under 35-degree weather.
Wants to go out like this?
And it is going to be game time kickoff. It's going to be 28 degrees. They're 1-9 in the last 10. Aaron Rodgers.
Cheetahs don't run in the cold.
Awful the last few weeks.
Yeah. And that's why I can't see him want to go out like this. He wants to go out with the Jets with a bang. All right, I'm going to take somebody out with me. I'm going to take Miami out.
Again, will the Dolphins win? Probably, but this isn't.
I want optimistic Joe, not realist Joe.
No, I was going to say probably, but this is also a hampered Dolphins team playing in environments where they're not successful. So it's you're not playing a full strength team.
We got that one. Then you still got like you talk about with Joe. We still got Kansas City. Are they going to? How many other starters are they going to play?
Optimistic for the Giants.
They're going to. I mean, you got to play some starters. Sorry,
optimistic for the Jets game. Aaron Rodgers performs well, and then he goes into another 3-day hibernation, and boom,
can he just go into a hibernation and just disappear?
Good retirement comes,
but
he helps us out.
The thing is that the Chiefs, and that's the thing too. All right, they're going to whoever they're playing, whoever their starters are, they're going to try and win. They're going to try their. Thank you for the applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. See, everyone likes my opinion.
You made a good point.
I know I did.
No, really.
They're going to try and win. I mean, they're
right.
Whoever it is. Now,
and there's going to be starters playing. You can't rest all 25
and the thing
guys.
Is, but how much does the pressure keep building on Denver? Because they've only had to win one freaking game.
Right, for 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks in a row. Yeah. And they haven't won it yet. Yeah. And they tried their darndest Saturday night to win, and they still haven't. Yeah. How much is that?
Actually, in overtime, they tried their damnedest to tie.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They handed us that game because they weren't aggressive in overtime at all. They were just trying to kill the clock and pop.
And that's the thing, too. All right, they haven't been aggressive. To me, I hate that. I'm like, go for the win.
Right. They should have gone for 2 at the end of overtime, at the end of regulation.
Mental, how you're looking at
you're throttling down. Don't throttle down.
So that's
why I like all of the 4th down calls. That again, I love. Like, you can go for 4th down at your own 5-yard line, and I'm like, fucking, let's go. Yeah. Okay, like, is it a smart move? No. But like, I like the aggression. I like that Zach, went for it on 4th down a lot. Again, failed because the interior offensive line is terrible, and they decided to run up the gut twice. And then the third one, Burrow got sacked. But like, I'm cool with it. And when you throttle down, you're taking guys out of out of their comfort zone, out of how they've been acting. Exactly. Yeah. So
that's where I'm like, has Denver done that? Have they throttled back and they can't? Does that pressure mount up? And it's kind of like where I said how momentum is huge. Momentum for the defense for the Bengals, I think, has momentum is helped them get confidence.
They've played closer to an average defense, and they're not average. I think they are probably 24, 25,
I mean,
which is where they're going.
Ball they played all year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I go back to momentum. Momentum is going in their favor.
Yeah.
Is the pressure mounting for Denver?
When you got young players, Brad, it'll be 3.5 weeks if the starters don't play at all because they played on Christmas, and it'll be 3.5 weeks. from Christmas Day
That's a long
until
time.
they play a game in first week or the
Well, that's
divisional
that's
weekend
why
of the wild
I
card.
think they're going to play some.
It's.
I
I mean,
think that's just
you
a
might see
long-
receivers. You're not going to see.
Patrick Holmes
You're
not
not
going
going
to
to
play.
you're not gonna see
you're not going to
Mahomes,
see
Chris
Mahomes,
Jones.
but I can promise you. Well, Chris Jones has been banged up, hurt.
Yeah.
So you probably won't see him. You probably won't see Mahomes. But realistically, I think they're going to play Pacheco and Kareem Hunt because
Mhm.
Pacheco's lost that starting job essentially behind Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
So he's still trying to find ways to get healthy. They obviously want to get him going before a playoff run. You're going to play your defense. Brian Cook's going to be out there. Trent McDuffie's going to be out there. They're going to play some guys on defense.
Also, do you know who holds the NCAA record for most rushing yards in a game? Samaje goddamn Perine. He's going to run. He's going to run all over the
Samaje's going to do it for all
408
Bengals
yards
fans.
in the game, by the way.
He did, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that because he was
I love that dude.
he was Mixon's backup at Oklahoma.
I love that dude.
I miss him. I want back in stripes. But yeah, I mean, so Samaje, I know you watch the show, so make sure you do it for all of us Bengals fans and knock them.
What are you going to do when Samaje Mania runs wild on you, brother?
Dude, if this happens, I am gonna just go nuts. I'll be.
I mean,
it's
lottery ticket odds. I mean, they were down to 1 or sub 1% a few weeks ago. When you again, how many teams they were behind? How many teams would have to fall off?
Sportsbooks had it at plus 1,800 this morning for Cincinnati to make the
And
playoffs.
they
And that's 1 week.
And
Like
that is 1
imagine weeks ago when they were 4-8.
So
they're
for the
one win, 2 losses away from it. That's it.
So
Yeah.
for the folks listening, there's still plenty of opportunity to make money on there right now.
Yeah.
On the Bengals, just saying.
I mean, put
Saying.
$10, you're going to make $180. Worst case, you lose $10.
Yeah.
Right.
Honey, where'd she go? Oh, darn! I was gonna tell her we gotta make a bet. She left already.
But on top of it, speaking about this game, Pittsburgh doesn't even know what they're going to do. Mike Tomlin came out today and said they're not for sure if they're
Yeah,
even
Ravens
gonna play.
play the 4:30 game, so that result they'll know
Oh.
they'll know if they're playing for the division or not. So if the Ravens win, they're only playing to if they win they go to Houston, which you'd much rather go to Houston than go back to Baltimore.
Yeah, true.
So
So I mean that's put this. And the Steelers, Mike Tomlin has a chance to keep the Bengals out.
I mean he's not, but I mean also but on the other hand, if they don't have like if they don't have to
guys, I don't remember Mike Tomlin sitting guys.
he
He doesn't seem like type of a coach.
I don't know, like I can't remember. I mean he plays them all the time in
Preseason.
in preseason. Also, they seem to get banged up a little more frequently than we do. Again, we start slow for the first month and a half, which is its own issue in and of itself. But he's not going to risk his. I mean, he knows like he has his what he's going to do, but he's not going to risk his guys just to keep the Bengals out. You know what I mean? Like if he's going to play, if he's going to play them, even if they don't have to, it's because he wants them on. He wants them sharp. He wants them fresh.
But think about it. Looking at the playoff picture right now from Bleacher Report, if Baltimore loses, that'll free the division up. Pittsburgh could go from facing Houston to the Chargers and then play into Kansas City. So overall, there's a lot of different things that could go down.
That's what I'm saying. If Baltimore wins, Pittsburgh's Pittsburgh's the 5 or the 6 seed. So it's not a huge deal. They're traveling. They're going to be traveling pretty much all the way through the playoffs anyway. But it's so I don't know.
It depends on who you want to play.
But it depends on who you want to play. And
yeah,
frankly,
if you're the 5
frankly,
playing Houston, Houston's bad.
Yeah,
they're
frankly,
not
right
well.
now I would want to play Houston.
I'd play Houston. That's where it's the
so that's
Chargers.
where.
So that's why. Yeah, I think that they'll probably play even if they even if they're
I think that's
even if Baltimore clinches.
I think they will play, and also Tomlin. To me, that's sandbagging. You know, well, I don't know, like that, dude. You're going to play.
It's but again, these are organizational decisions, and he's asked the question. On Monday,
And it doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. The Bengals have got to play to win, so they don't care who's out there. Us 3 could be out there, and they will try to kick our ass. Like they don't care. They have to win.
The big thing for the Bengals on Saturday night, Amarius Mims will have to find a way to play with that club.
Yeah,
because you got pulled second half this week. You saw the pressure that comes. TJ Watt is a menace to society on that defensive line. And if they don't,
but their defensive line isn't as good as the Broncos.
No,
Broncos, their
correct.
entire
They
front.
have a great defensive line.
they have a great defensive
Because
line.
you can help. I mean, Cochran. I haven't looked at the numbers, but he looked bad. But guys that I trust on social media, like Andrew Russell and guys that like watch and grade the film, said that Devin Cochran actually looked like a again, not a starter, but looks serviceable,
Man.
like someone who could possibly
Especially
be a
if
swing tackle.
Get a tight end chip in there, help out a little bit.
Right,
Hey.
and I mean, the Bengals unfortunately
Shout
don't
out
do
to
that, but-
Cody Ford too on the offensive line for balling out and having a good game.
Yeah.
While his ex was throwing a party at the Banks. Shout out to that. In a game the Bengals needed it the most,
He was concentrating on his job, man. He wasn't.
Hey,
didn't
good.
worry
Also, Orlando Brown on a broken leg.
Yeah, that's crazy.
0 pressures. Ted
That's
Karras,
crazy.
0 pressures.
I mean, honestly, the other than the 7 sacks, the offensive line played pretty good.
it's. I mean,
And it's hard to say that when you go
it's like,
7 sacks, but Burrow had time. I mean, if you throw it for 400 yards, you got time to throw the ball.
But also,
He wasn't running around. I don't know.
they did a great job with their scheme to keep the
Well,
escape lanes out, and that's where a lot of sacks came. He wasn't able to get out.
Because there was that one where 77 got him, made a big haul. Joe stepped up and he couldn't.
Yeah.
And that was really the only time I saw Joe really try to step up.
Yeah.
After that, he quit doing it because they had it all locked up.
and think about it too, guys. Orlando Brown on one leg versus in a win or die situation for Cincinnati. Not many people can go out there and play.
He has a broken leg.
broken fibia in 2 spots. He said 2 spots. Think about that. That's more
And it's
than
not like he's a skinny guy.
Yeah,
no,
he's
and you're having
373, whatever.
325, 350-pound grown men bulldozing,
Man,
pushing
so
on that leg
so
all game.
If he can do that, Mims, put a club on and play. Let's go. At least
Yeah.
try.
I mean, he.
I think he's gonna at least try.
It's
I
a
think it
matter
was
of
just the matchup was just getting too far off the edge, and Denver was getting what they wanted in that matchup. But
But like you said, yeah, the pitcher has T.J. Watt, but Denver's defense line is way better.
Yeah.
Than the Steelers. I mean, they Steelers got Watt and they got
Cam Hayward on the inside.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Hayward on the
is
inside.
Highsmith still? I know he
No,
was out.
Played this weekend.
Okay, I was gonna say.
So,
I know he was out. When we
They have
played
a
him.
couple guys, but it's not the same as Denver. And
Yeah.
we have a better shot of handling that.
Mims had a great great grade
Yeah.
for as little as he played. So he was fine. He was effective. It's when he
Question.
went out.
Question for you guys. Do you think Chase Brown has made any calls to Chad Ochocinco to get that ankle right ahead of this weekend's game? saying.
The Chad method.
The Chad method.
I don't know. So
Chad method is
all right.
just
So
a shitload of
I have a
McDonald's?
question for you guys about that, and I think lots of Bengals fans have weighed in on this. Of if he just kneels the ball there instead of Chase Brown running it. I mean, I keep defending this. And look, if Chase doesn't get hurt, Chase Brown doesn't get
It
hurt.
changes everything.
They don't call a timeout. They run the clock
Right.
out.
Denver
field goal
had
or
to.
whatever.
Yeah, Denver would have.
I think the game doesn't go to overtime. So everybody keeps going back like, oh, you should have kneeled it. Well, of course you're going to say that. You know the result.
Right.
I'm like,
Hindsight.
Hindsight. And I can't stand when people do that. But I don't think the call was bad because he told him to get down. He told him the right thing to do: get down, don't score, try to run the clock out, and it didn't work. You know, I mean, unfortunately, he got hurt and they had to call timeout.
Alex Kappa had a 10.1 pass blocking grade. Everyone else had a decent
Everyone
grade.
else had.
I mean, Cody Ford was 57.6, which is like
That's
average.
in the
Like that's
NFL.
not bad. Devin Cochran was 62. Again,
But
Amarius
now
Mims
now you see where the
80.7.
pressure came from.
Oh, it came up the middle. Yeah, I know where it came
Well, yeah.
from. Yeah, 77's got like 4 sacks. I know exactly where
Yeah.
it came from.
I know he had at least
Yeah,
three.
it wasn't
He had a
outside. It
game.
was right up the
Well,
middle.
it was all over. It
Well,
was
a lot
everywhere.
of it was up the middle. That was
But and the ones that were outside were because the pocket, like he had nowhere to step up. And again, they had great rush,
protection.
rush integrity, and like
their
they
gap schemes were there was no
they
gaps.
didn't get out of their rush
Right.
lanes, so Burrow had nowhere to go. So
Right.
when he tried to escape, that's when the edges were.
Hey,
got their pressure.
What did I tell you guys on Friday night about Jamar Chase
that I'm awesome.
versus Pat
Oh.
Surtain? That would be the matchup to watch, and everyone looked at me in millions looked at us like we were stupid.
What
Because
did I say about Mike Gesicki?
Mike Gesicki, yeah.
You said he's gonna have a Mike Gesicki game.
But
I said Mike Gesicki's gonna play
Yeah.
a role.
remember, our guy, the Lions fan, looked at us like we were stupid for saying Jamar Chase was going to have a day versus Pat Surtain.
Well, they tried to claim, and I don't know what the official numbers were, that he only had 3 catches on 27, or 3 catches for 27 yards against. And I'll look it up and see what PFF
He
has
had a
him
day.
covered for. But
But you know who else had a day?
Bengals or Joe Burrow threw it for 419 yards. And if you have poor Riley Moss, who's a decent,
Riley Moss got
Mossed.
mossed multiple times.
yeah, he got
Especially by-
yeah.
Especially by 2.
Yeah, I mean, and Riley, he's a good quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. But you don't like when T is having that game, and when Gesicki is open over the middle, you don't need to force Chase. And Chase still had 10 catches, 9 catches. Still had 9 catches for 103 yards. Like, that's why you have these. You know, that's the argument for keeping T. Is their mic check is
just
lost
not
my
your
train
train
of thought.
out. But
That's the argument for keeping T around. I mean, this is the Bengals' floor with Joe Burrow, T and Chase.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as crappy as the defense is, as bad as the offensive line is, as a group performing as poorly as it has since Burrow's been here. They're 500. Like they'll either be 9-8 or 8-9. This is their floor.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was trying to tell people earlier in the year. I'm like, people are like, oh, this is a 2 or 3 year rebuild. Like, no, it's not. Like, you keep T, you keep Jamar, you keep all these guys together. You fix the defense, which you can fix the defense. I'm going defensive line, interior defensive line, and edge. To me, you get those 2 spots fixed, and you get like Joseph Osai has gotten pressure on the quarterback. I mean, it's not, but it helped. We needed somebody to step, and we haven't had that. Now he's doing
that's a complimentary guy that you like to have in the
That's
rotation.
what I keep saying is if you get that defensive line fixed, just that alone fixed, it's going to fix your secondary. It's going to fix your safety room. And Geno Stone has been playing better. We talked about that a million different times.
Outside of Mims, literally just toasting him and Battle on that.
No,
that
was him and
Mike Hilton.
Him and Hilton.
It was Hilton.
No. On the go route.
On the go route,
on the one where Bo Nix let that thing go for
67 yards.
I mean, I didn't say he's playing great, but he's playing better.
Yeah, he's playing solidly. I don't have the complaints where he's been since the bye week.
If you get a defensive line that can do gap integrity and get pressure on it, that right there, I won't say fixes the defense, but sure as hell helps it a lot.
It covers stuff up, and the coverage hasn't looked bad. I mean, CTB has looked more in line with where he's been in his career. He's not a number one. He's not a lockdown guy, but he's a guy you can play with on the outside.
Right.
He's looked more like that guy because you're playing poor teams, but
you're getting more pressure.
The Broncos have a good offensive line, and they still got pressure. And
they got what 2? We got 2 sacks on them.
It's a couple. I know.
Trey
and
they got
Trey split one with Osai. Cedric Johnson got
he
one.
got his first one.
Yeah,
that was it. Yeah,
that was a great play. He was forced outside because Trey beat his man.
Yep.
But again, this is like the floor.
Yeah.
And if you get impact makers on the line, again, you're still going to be Mike Hilton. You can't get rid of that guy. That guy's got to stay around for what he can do.
Just for his blitz.
For what he can do in blitzing and
he times that up so perfectly. Yeah. I think he does it better than anybody in football.
Oh, absolutely. Like they talk about like Derwin James and some other guys. I'm sorry, Mike Hilton is the best.
He's
blitzer.
elite at it. I mean,
this is for his size. He's 5'9" and like
he still tackles like
105 pounds.
Yeah, he tackles like a wrecking ball.
Right.
He might not be able to cover as good as he did, but he still does everything else.
Right. And that's the thing. Like you don't want to. You can move on from him, and you don't want to move on from him. So he's still going to be there. So again, you just get better guys rushing the passers.
Oh, that was Logan Wilson. Oh, and Logan Wilson's playing awesome too. He's hurt. But that really just threw my whole train of thought up there. Sorry. What I was saying is I agree with where they're at. If you keep Joe, Jamar, and T together, and you may have agreed on this about the running back that Chase Brown was an upgrade. Yeah. Nothing against Joe Mixon, I love him, but Chase Brown fits it better. You keep those guys together, and I'm throwing out that you got to keep Gesicki too. You have to keep him. I think you keep that group together. Get this defensive line fixed and fix the interior offensive line. Dude, we're in the playoffs again. We might be in the playoffs this year.
Draft one, sign one for the offensive line. And again, I'm cool with Cordell Volson being there as depth because you're not going to find somebody easily find somebody for what he's making that has 50 starts. And again, is he a good starter? No.
Yeah.
But for someone to come in for an injury or something,
you
can Cordell.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Volson. For someone if there's an injury, for that guy to step in, that's invaluable than having to rely on a late pick, having to rely say Matt Lear to come in and have to play center or something.
Are you signing Cody Ford to keep as your starting guard?
No.
Well, I can't put this.
Nothing.
I'd sign him to keep him on the
It's a
roster.
depth piece.
for
It's
for
that
four
piece.
for guard 4.
But you gotta draft at least one and hopefully sign one.
That is
Hopefully,
it. Draft and sign one.
yeah,
Draft
hopefully,
one, sign
we
one.
talk about the guy from Kansas City, the guard.
Oh, Trey Smith.
Yeah, we talked about him.
That's gonna cost a lot of money.
That's okay.
But that's
I'm all right with
they
spending
need to do
Mike
that.
Brown's money.
Yeah, they need.
That's
to
what they
do
need
that.
to do. Yeah.
Like you need to invest. They've never invested
Yeah,
in
if
the
you-
interior offensive
so if
line,
you get that-
and you see what's happened. Look at Kevin Zeitler. He's still a good player. 10 years after the Bengals let him walk.
Yeah.
And they should have brought him back this year.
And the thing is, like, if you can get a guard and a good guard in second, third round, you can. The guards are not first rounders. They're second,
Right. You
third
can get
round.
him day 2.
Yeah, you can get that day 2. You could address. And the thing is, if you sign a good guard in the offseason and you get a good guard in the draft,
Yeah.
it's fixed. And the thing is, you could do same though the defensive line. You sign, I don't know, an interior guy, or I don't know who the free agency are, and then
Kenneth Grant in the draft.
then you draft that guy. Then if you get the offensive line, defensive line fixed, there's
That yeah.
you still
Then-
want to
then
improve
you-
those
then
stuff,
you
but
can-
that's the main stuff to fix this year.
Then you're going on the margins, improving your cornerback depth or improving the back of the wide receiver room, messing
Right.
with the depth at tight end, running back, get a more running back depth
Yeah.
because they don't have any depth.
I want a big guy like Samaje back.
Yeah,
as running back.
and-
That's what I want.
yeah, you need one of those guys, or at least on practice squad, so you have, so you've got a bigger back, or whatever. I don't think the Bengals are ever going to be a team that's going to bring back the fullback like a bunch of teams have.
No,
At
you
least,
just need to change it up. A guy. I mean now.
Well, Zach Moss is going to be a cut for sure.
Oh yeah, he's
probably guaranteed on that
but I mean
one.
the backup running
Khalil
back.
Herbert? Khalil Herbert.
That one cut he did. He was awesome.
He's always been an explosive guy too from Chicago.
Neil, your face froze in a very
You
unfortunate
got to try
position.
again. You got knocked out for some reason.
Yeah.
Somehow Neil got knocked out.
Keith, I have no idea who Josh Gates from Expedition Unknown is, but I'm gonna pretend that's a compliment. So,
but yeah,
MC's got one linebacker in draft. Yeah, you got to bring guys in. They need to get more athletic. Logan Wilson's and Akeem Davis-Gaither are the only athletic
but the thing,
linebackers that
to
they
me,
have. I
to me,
think.
that's first 3 rounds are, if you can, offensive defensive line. That's
Yeah,
The rest of it's
But
later on.
yeah, linebacker depth is something you can get later in the draft.
Right.
I mean, that's where these guys came. I mean, Marcus Bailey was a fantastic 7th round pick, played primarily special teams, but the guy was a good pick. Akeem Davis-Gaither was a late round pick, very athletic. Like that's where you get those guys. That's perfectly fine.
All right, Neil, what were you saying before you got knocked off?
I couldn't even remember. I didn't even realize I got knocked off until after that. So it's
You-
going back and forth.
wow.
So.
Okay.
Do we have a dog signing again? Did Gabby bring the dog? Aw.
Is there a dog? Where's the dog?
Yeah, we brought Fendi again.
Fendi's here.
We got a puppy dog. I like puppies.
Does Fendi want to make a debut? That doesn't sound good at all. She can't hear me anyway. Again, we're live down here at Newport on the levee right before Bengals Now. Fox IT is going to be recording down here. Joseph Osai is going to be down here. Jordan Battle's going to be down here. Their show starts at 6, so make sure you guys come on down. This will not be the last one because the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. I'm calling my shot right now. That computer doesn't like you.
I know, right?
We'll just share.
Yeah, there you go. That's better. I got my own screen.
Normally, one computer can't handle this much sexy on one screen.
Hey,
but
you said
we'll
it, not
do
me. You said it.
Who
I'm
invited this guy?
I'm giving us both compliments, man.
So, all right, we're getting closer
You're back
to
again,
is
baby.
that better? So we're getting close to New Year's Eve here. You guys got Neil. I know you got some big plans because you're going to go out and do some crazy stuff. Me and Joe are kind of old.
It's amateur hour.
So there we go.
We're in our 40s, man. It's New Year's Eve. It's amateur hour.
April.
Right.
I wouldn't say crazy. My friend is DJing this tomorrow night,
Yeah.
so I'll go out and support him, support the boys. But that is going to be it.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
I'm sure we'll in a group text we'll be getting some unusual texts.
And at least keep us abreast of what's
Keep us in
going
the
on.
loop. Yeah, we want to know what you're doing.
I won't go missing, and
That's good.
If there is anybody listening, ask
I
Alex
think-
Meacham about that.
You need to share your information just in case so
Yes,
we can track you. Just
Find you.
just so somebody can
Guys.
at least find your phone.
I don't know where I'm at, but you
In
have to
case
find me.
anybody is wondering, just ask Alex Meacham for the missing reference. He'll give you the full story.
I'm
I'll have to ask him.
annoyed. I'm annoyed that I have to stay up till midnight tomorrow. I mean, I'm usually up that late anyway, but I'm annoyed that I'm compelled to be up that late.
I'm interested in this one, Brad. I did not see this. So did you hear yesterday on WLW Lance saying they need to cut Trey to save money to sign T? I told
There's
you.
a reason. There's a reason Lance's show is when it is, because it's people. He caters to people with basic, basic knowledge and understanding. So he's
Yes, so this is the more sophisticated show here for sure.
So he sounds smart. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I would not know.
That is they have.
There's so many guys you can.
There are so many guys. They have cut to afford those guys. You just cut it. Like you go cheap everywhere else.
Cut it.
You go cheap everywhere else.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. Yeah, you don't. Those two cuts alone right there. Looks like you help go towards signing T.
25, and I should be a GM, baby.
Look at that.
Right.
So yes, no, we do.
Right.
Not.
Yeah. That's
No.
no. Yeah,
I love
that's the
Lance.
dumbest thing I've heard in my life.
I love Lance. Dumbest thing I've heard in my life. Yeah, I don't. That was just to get people to conversate with you, and it worked. But yeah, that would not. No, I'm signing. That's when Joe.
He's getting extended.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're signing. You have to sign Trey. And okay, so we'll go back to where I brought up Sunday or Friday night. We all kind of came to a thing. I think that we're keeping Geno Stone, right?
I would.
I don't know.
I wouldn't cut him, but I wouldn't be upset if he got. I would try to negotiate.
All right, so you're trying to keep Stone on the roster, and you brought it up earlier with Danneman. I at this point think they're trying to keep Joseph Osai because of what Joe said. It's their own guy. They drafted, they developed, they've been working on him. They know the fit. They know, he knows the system. He knows the fit. He knows what to do. He's finally starting to show stuff. I mean,
Gino's making. Gino will be making. Where to go? $6 million next year. Which
Nothing too crazy.
right? It's not too crazy. There'd be some good cap savings. They've spent much more egregiously. Worse money on other contracts, and I think you're seeing where how he fits.
Yes,
and it's again, and this has been my frustration with Lou Anarumo the entire time. Even when their defenses were playing better, it takes a long time. How many games did they look terrible in the first half of games, and then after look at all the games against the Chiefs in 2021, 2022.
Right,
they would get smoked in the first half of games, and then there'd be adjustments made in the second half, and it's
annoying, but he does
he gets
a good job of it.
He gets out coached, and then he catches up.
He gets out coached, but then he figures. I mean,
right. So
just your case in point, the 2022 AFC Championship game, that whole the second half, that defense was totally different.
Yeah,
they did not know what to do,
and it also turned on Andy Reid getting greedy.
Eli Apple making a play.
Yeah, and Andy Reid getting greedy, but yeah,
exactly. So yeah, all right. So hopefully we fixed the echoing there.
We did. It was his mic.
Yeah,
His computer wasn't muted. We're good. Thanks, Brad.
Like I said, I hope if you guys are out and about and looking for a cool place to come watch a Bengals show, come down to Newport 11 here. Bengals Now is gonna be on. Jeremy, Joe, Gabby, even Reagan's here. The whole crew's here. Joseph Osai is gonna be here. Jordan Bell is gonna be here. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
You see one of the staff members rear end over my shoulder. That's a great. I'm sure he appreciates that.
And of course, you like
why we can't bring.
This is why we can't bring Joe. We don't let Joe out very much.
I'm just looking at myself on the screen to see where everyone else is. I'm like, that's an unfortunate.
Well, Joe, I hope your wife is watching this and she never lets you leave the house.
She does not. Even when she shows up, she doesn't pay attention. She brings her crocheting or knitting or reads a book.
That is true. At least my wife is. Well,
she's just there to because I drag her out of the house.
Looking pretty. She was watching.
Says, I have to deal with him.
She's the
all
producer.
the time.
Exactly.
She gets to deal with me all the time. I'm a treasure.
All right, so tonight, after you guys watch Bengals Now, come down here. The Bearcats are playing Big 12,
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. K-State. This is a winnable game.
Little Apple.
This is the game I think they should win. I know it's at K-State, right? Or is it here?
It's at Little. It's in the Little Apple.
I think it's a winnable game. I think it's a game they should win. I don't want to repeat of Villanova.
No, and I don't think that will happen because this is a completely different Kansas State team. Cincinnati has the size advantage. Physically.
Also, there's not one dude who's going to score like 85 points.
If there is, it's Coleman Hawkins, and I know he's
Well, we did
dealing
actually
with,
stop that guy.
and I know he's dealing with a banged-up knee that he's been dealing with for the last few weeks, but he has underperformed on offense. Cincinnati has 2 guys over 7 feet tall. Kansas State's tallest guy who sees foreseeable minutes is Coleman Hawkins at 6'9".
Pull
So-
up UC schedule real quick.
Yes,
Gabby.
boss.
First 4 games for Cincinnati in Big 12 play. You got Kansas State, you got Arizona, you have Baylor, and then you have Kansas.
So can we realistically think of
Realistically,
three
you
and
can
one
go
start?
3-1.
That's what I'm thinking.
Realistically, we're going 4-0.
Realistic, there's
Okay,
a
yeah,
good
it-
chance.
I mean,
they
I
go
think
for it.
Kansas-
I'm Mr. Unrealistic. I'm going 4.
I mean, the toughest game is at home. I mean, they play Kansas.
Play Kansas
at
at
third.
home.
Here,
But
yeah.
on top of it, Kansas State is 6-5 coming out of the non-conference slate. And
let's
for
just say
someone
this.
who has the top 5 NIL allotment in the country, should not be 6-5.
So let's say this: they start out.
Kansas State?
Jerome Tang has
Who's-
plenty of resources up there.
Who's wasted? Like,
They gave Coleman Hawkins $1.6 million by himself.
I guess you got to pay a crap load of money to get someone to go to the middle of nowhere in Kansas. I've been through Manhattan. There's nothing.
nothing. There's nothing in the whole state of Kansas.
No,
There's
like
nothing there.
yeah, like you go
Or
from
Missouri.
Kansas City, like
Either one of them.
Kansas City's like Cincinnati. You've got suburbs on on the other side of the border in Kansas, and then there's nothing until you get to Denver.
So, all right, question. UC, let's say, starts out 4-0, worst case 3-1.
Worst case is 0-4. But
Well,
I mean,
worst.
logic, like
but
practical. Like,
practical. I don't think
you
there's
know,
going to be
14-6 in Big 12 play.
Where do you think they start getting up there? How big a jump do they get? Do they get up into the top 10, top 15? Where does
they're
that-
at 16, so yeah, they would jump up.
I mean, could they jump up into the top 5 if they're 4-0?
Probably not.
You
If
beat
they're 4-0,
Kansas,
if they're
maybe.
4-0, absolutely they could
Yeah.
jump
You
up
beat
that
Kansas,
because
yeah.
I don't care. Like, I'm the wrong guy because I don't care about rankings. I care about
they will definitely.
I care about Ken Palm. I care about net rankings. I care about stuff
if
like
they
that because
start-
that's seed lines.
If they start 4-0, think about it. Kansas State, if they beat Kansas State tonight, they'll
Still
probably
quite-
push
yeah.
them to 12,
Right.
maybe 12, depending on what happens in front of them. But if you beat
When do they
Arizona,
play?
a top
Yeah,
25
Arizona's
team,
next is after the
Baylor, a top 25 team, and Kansas, who's a
Top
top
10.
5 team, top 10 team,
Yeah.
you win all 4 of those, you're
Yeah.
top 10.
Yeah,
automatically.
That's what I'm thinking. That's
Yeah.
exactly what
10
I'm saying.
automatically and shouldn't be lower than 8. Or
Right.
shouldn't be higher than 8.
And I think, like, now, my concern or my fear, I
put
mean,
them at 14-1.
is how many games last year did the Bearcats have they should have won?
they couldn't close
and
out.
They couldn't
6.
close it out.
6.
Yeah, 6 of them.
Of the 4 that they did win by game winner, Seamus Lukosius hit 2 of them, which one
So-
of them was versus Kansas State.
My-
So
So just hear me out. My concern is
No, I won't hear you out.
hush. Seamus Lukosius and Jizzle haven't come out shooting at the beginning of games like they can. Like I think they're going to need to do in Big 12 play. That's my concern, and that's where we've this team could shoot. If this team could shoot last year, they would have won those games.
you want to know what's going to be the difference maker for them this season?
What do you
Dylan
got?
Mitchell.
Nope, Aziz Bandego in the front court. Cincinnati is 12-1 when Aziz Bandego
Yeah.
scores in double figures.
Yeah,
If
but
they can
it-
find
He's
that,
he is
But-
totally.
I
He's
still
become an offensive player this year now.
I still question like he's still so limited. He's
I mean,
scored.
I'm not saying
He's
throw the
scored.
ball down low to him every time. but
He's
got
scoring
moves.
more because they've gotten better. They've gotten better throwing lobs. They throw
Yeah.
so
Yes.
many lobs
They're
last year. They were
dunking
terrible.
way more.
I mean, also look
his
at who they were
offensive game
throwing
is
lobs
still-
to last year. They had Aziz, which
Yeah.
great. Then you had Big Vic, and Vic is not a lob guy.
No,
Aziz, I love his defensive effort. I love his effort in general. I mean, you see him diving on the ground. You don't see a lot of guys that are his size.
You don't
Right.
see a
For
7-footer going
reasons.
4
I mean,
rows
like,
into the stands.
Yeah, I mean, how many knee issues do you see 7-footers have? You don't see guys with that effort. He doesn't have a legit power 4 team offensive game. When he gets points, that's awesome. That means that his floor is spaced and he's got space for them to throw lobs. But he's not the guy that I'm looking for.
Everybody knows what you're going to get with Dylan Mitchell, though. Like tonight, this is the
Yeah.
matchup. Dylan Mitchell's.
well, Dylan Mitchell is
Nice.
more-
Hang on. Nice of this guy to show up when
Yeah,
we're
nice
done.
of this guy to show up.
When we're around.
We're about done, and the man finally shows up.
Hey, we got a seat right here. I need you to sit right here and explain your Cleveland video for us. Come on.
Welcome to the show, Harrison.
Hey.
He is a comedian. He is
Hey.
not a TikTok comedian. He's a real comedian. What's up,
Hey.
Harrison?
Just ran
Yeah.
out of my job, almost probably fired.
Did
but
you get
hey,
fired?
It's okay. You know,
We are priority.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
duh.
Yeah.
I mean, serving rich
You see,
people
I'm,
wine.
I'm running
So
like
serving rich people wine or come and hang out with us. What's better?
serving rich people wine.
So where's my glass? That's the question.
I dropped it outside. Running.
That chocolate wine that y'all have, that's good shit.
It's very
That's good.
good.
That's good
Yep.
stuff.
Come to
All right.
Cooper's Hawk.
We got about a minute left here.
See, that's great. That's all I need.
Yeah, so go. Explain your
Yeah,
video,
explain
man.
Open
that
mic
Cleveland
night.
video.
Open mic night with Harrison.
What video? The one I just posted
Yeah,
on Cleveland
yeah.
of how they let us
I thought-
down.
Yeah,
Because
that's because they didn't play
We needed
Jameis.
one thing, and Cleveland wants to go screw it up for us. Like, thank you, Cleveland. Thank you. Like, thank you.
He literally put in his video, "Do not get on that plane and go to Baltimore."
Don't know. Their season is over. Baltimore season or Cleveland season is canceled. That for their last game. We're not about to put up with any of this anymore. Cleveland, we're sorry that you have to be a Browns fan. Just come on over to the Bengals.
Just quit.
Just quit.
Just quit being Browns fans.
Sell
Just
your
quit.
season tickets and then just come down the road. Come down the road.
Yeah, but it's
It's terrible. It's unplugged.
We
back.
Hey, we're back.
We
Like-
back.
There we go.
like Browns fans like
I know,
like,
we're
they
talking
like to use-
Cleveland.
Yeah.
And we got unplugged.
they like to use the joke that Cincinnati's in Kentucky. Kentucky's a hell of a lot nicer than Cleveland.
Yeah.
Let's be
we're
clear.
literally in Kentucky right now. Though.
I love the bluegrass.
Yeah.
It's a cool there's some awesome places. My brother lives in Louisville. I lived in Florence. I'd much rather live in the bluegrass than in Northeast Ohio. That's
Yeah.
not an insult.
Yeah. No.
Like, yeah,
No.
cool. Kentucky's really damn cool.
Cleveland. I just I'm going to Pittsburgh.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going. I made my mind up today.
Uh-oh.
So
You gonna get in a fight?
pray for me.
I'm concerned he's going to drown his sorrows in the Three Rivers.
No,
I
he's not.
might.
I'm concerned he's gonna go to jail fighting for Steelers fans.
Just know.
Yeah.
Just know you can call us if anything happens.
We
I
got you.
will. I know.
We
that's-
got your back.
I'm not coming to bail your ass out. That's too far
Oh,
away. But I mean,
I mean,
He's
send
got your
me
back,
some
too.
money.
yeah, I mean,
Hey,
I
if you
need
bail
money
him
on
out,
my
you might be
books.
invited to the
I'll
cookout.
Venmo you. I'll Venmo you.
If you bail him out, you might be invited to the cookout.
For sure.
Yeah, okay.
That's
for
that's
every-
I came and saw you perform a couple weeks ago.
You did. I take that.
And y'all were funny as hell.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
All
that
right,
one-
we
that
gotta get
one-
the heck out of here. Bengals now is about to start here. Harrison, tell everybody where they can follow you at. If they got shows or anything coming up sometime soon.
Harrison the comedian on Instagram, TikTok, Harrison Butler on Facebook. Follow me. I will follow back. I ain't got no shows coming up, but
Nothing?
nope. I'm just
You're not doing anything New Year's Eve?
staying my butt at home.
Staying in the car?
Yeah. Yep.
You should be sleeping in the car?
I just got a new little card thing too. I don't know if you can see. I was using my hands today. in
I
the
did.
videos.
I did.
Yep. I
You-
got a
look,
little mount.
Look,
I'm
you
moving
get all
up in the world.
sophisticated and stuff
Yep.
on us.
Yep. I
Yeah.
guess I can't move out the car now.
Neil, tell everybody where they can follow you at. What do you got
Yeah,
going
so
on?
you can follow me over at MeyerNeil6 on Twitter, CincinnatiRivals.com, Bearcat Blitz, the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk podcast. We're about to drop 20 episodes over the next 8-10 weeks, it feels like.
Ooh.
So overall, a lot of good stuff happening.
Joe, what do you got? Anything? Any final words for?
So-
Actually, how about this? You got to. And
Well,
you guys got
I
to.
was going to say, like,
Yeah,
no,
but-
I'm in the process of developing and coming up with concept for a new show.
Oh yeah,
So
I'm in there.
I'm going to crowdsource to y'all here in the comments,
Okay.
and you guys here. What do you guys want? What do you guys want from a show? I mean, it's
From
obviously
your
it's gonna-
show?
It's going to be more broad spec, broad Cincinnati sports.
Yeah.
Because like I can't just talk about one thing. I got to
You
bitch
can do
about it. I
music
got to bitch
and-
about everybody.
Music, movies, pop culture.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to be pop culture. Like there's going to
That's a
I
good
can't
idea.
get away from my music or movies.
Joe Schmo pops.
Exactly.
See?
Joe Schmo
Joe
Pops
Schmo-
with
Joe
the
Schmo-
popcorn emoji would be
Yeah,
great.
Joe Schmo pop.
Schmo
Put my face on a popcorn.
Yeah, you put your
kernel.
face on it.
Great.
Yeah, see, I just come up with ideas, people, just like that. Bam.
Hey, there is an AMC right above, so that's a
Yeah.
quick. That's a quick.
So,
vote.
there we
any idea of when this is going to start happening? It's going to be on my channel, by the way.
Yeah,
Right,
it'll probably
Down
be
here.
through.
So make sure you guys. I will definitely check it out. Any
Yeah.
idea when you might be doing it?
Within, I mean, I gotta work on graphics, all the digital design and all that
Yeah.
crap. I'm not sure. I mean,
Sometime after
I'm
the first of the
hoping,
year?
yeah, just sometime after the first.
Okay.
Sometime by
Well,
February.
you'll be
so
on. We'll be able to let everybody know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm not going anywhere.
give the comments in there below. Tell Joe what you like to see on a show that he would run.
Some people here probably wouldn't like to see me. They'd like it better if I weren't on it, but I
They
mean
might
that's
not.
okay. I amuse myself.
I will watch it.
I appreciate you.
So, all right, real quick, you guys got any predictions on the game here for the Bearcats before we get out of here?
I think they win. I think it's going to be kind of a slog.
78-70 Bearcats.
I was going to say 75-65.
Who they put?
Kansas State.
They good.
They're
Yeah, all right.
6 and 5. They're all right.
85-67.
I'm okay with
Harrison
it.
going with the blowout.
There
I
you
like
I'm okay
that.
with that.
I got 75-70 Bearcats.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. All right, guys. Appreciate all of you joining as usual. Let me click you guys out here and get to my sponsors before we get out of here. And I'd like you guys to check them out as much as you can because they are all wonderful, wonderful sponsors. We got Priority Lawn and Landscaping. Check them all out. Check them out at, you can give them a call at 513-340-6114. Priority Lawn and Landscaping for your lawn and landscaping and snow removal needs. Also, Midwest Best Barbecue. Tell Tim and Nicole I sent you. Check out Meyer Windows and Doors at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. Hail Mary is right there on the west side. Your ticket to the game. Make sure you guys check that out. Free parking, big ass TV screen, food trucks. It's an awesome, awesome time. Again, we're having a great time down here at Newport on the Levee. Get down here. It is definitely filling up. Who day? The Bengals are going to the playoffs. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Weekend nights, the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight.